All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a massive topic, that big move to S/4HANA Finance. Look, it's a huge undertaking. And honestly, success or failure, it all comes down to how you start. So let's make sure we get those first steps absolutely right.
So let's just get right to it. Is your system really ready? I mean, truly ready? This is the question that should be keeping project managers up at night. Because before you move a single byte of data, you have to answer this. And getting it wrong, well, let's just say the consequences are not pretty. And the stakes couldn't be higher, right? I mean, we are talking about the financial core of your entire company. One wrong move here is a huge deal. But, and this is the good news, you can make this whole thing so much smoother. It really boils down to just two critical prep phases.
And here they are, the two pillars of preparation, system health and the financial snapshot. I want you to think of these as the absolute non-negotiable foundation for your project. You nailed these two things, you are on the right track for a much, much less painful migration.
Okay, let's tackle pillar number one, the system health check. This is where we get technical. It's all about diving deep into your system's core settings. You know, you wouldn't build a new house on shaky ground, right? Same principle. We have to make sure the foundation is solid.
So your first real task is to run what's called a system consistency check. Think of this as your first big hurdle, your go, no-go moment. It's run with a specific SAP program. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that technical name on the screen. But what you need to know is this little program, it's the ultimate gatekeeper. If you don't pass this check, you're not going anywhere.
And the cool thing about this check is just how specific it gets. This isn't some vague, how's it going kind of check. No, it's a bloodhound. It is actively hunting for very precise little inconsistencies that will absolutely derail your project later. We're talking about stuff like currency settings, fiscal year variance, tiny details that have to be perfectly aligned for the new S/4HANA architecture to even work. And here is a classic example of what this thing finds. So in the before state, you can see the check flagged an error. Why? Because the company code and the controlling area were on different fiscal year variants, K1 versus K4. That might seem small, but to S/4HANA, it's a showstopper. The migration literally cannot continue. So you go in, you fix it, make them both K4, as you see in the after column, and boom, you get the green light. Simple as that, but so critical.
All right, so your system is technically sound. You've passed the first check. Now we move on to pillar number two, and this one is all about the business side of things, the financial snapshot. We're talking about capturing a perfect, crystal clear picture of your entire financial world exactly as it is right now. And I love this analogy. It's like a before photo for your finances. You wouldn't start a huge home renovation without taking pictures of how everything looked first, would you? Of course not. This is the exact same idea. This financial snapshot is your proof. It's your baseline, your source of truth that you'll use later to prove, without a doubt, that nothing got lost or broken in the move. Okay, so the official name for this is business reconciliation. But I want to be clear, this is so much more than just printing out a few reports. What you're actually doing is building an evidence trail, a complete auditable file that proves every single balance, every total, every important number you have, made it safely to S/4HANA 100% intact.
In the process itself, it's actually pretty straightforward, which is great. It's 3 steps. 1, you execute all the key reports. 2, you carefully document everything, you save all the outputs. And 3, you store that documentation somewhere safe for comparison later. That's it. This simple 3-step process, it's basically your insurance policy for your financial data.
Okay, so you're probably asking, what exactly goes into this snapshot? Which reports are we talking about? Great question. Let's open up the toolkit and see what's inside.
So how many reports are we talking about here? A few? Maybe 5? 10? Nope. The guidance is clear. There are 14. 14 specific, crucial programs and transactions you have to run. And that number isn't random. It's what it takes to build that complete, robust financial picture you need before you pull the trigger on the migration.
Now, we're not going to list all 14 one by one. That would be a bit much. But look at how they're grouped here by function. This gives you a great idea of the scope. You've got your core financials, your balance sheets, your P&Ls. Then you dive deeper into customer and vendor ledgers, all the open items. You've got to grab your asset accounting data and even your internal controlling reports for things like cost centers. It is a top-to-bottom full system checkup.
Okay, so you've done all this work. You've done the health check, you've taken the financial before photo. What's the payoff? Why does all this matter?
This quote really just nails it, doesn't it? This reconciliation will ensure consistent data both before and after migration. That's the whole point. That's the goal. You're doing all this work to guarantee that the data you start with is the exact same data you end with in your new system. No surprises.
And that really is the key takeaway. These two pillars, they're not just chores. They are how you transform migration risk into migration readiness. You're not just hoping for the best, you are actively finding and solving the biggest, scariest problems before they have a chance to blow up your project. So, you've done your pre-flight check. You've taken the before photo. What does that mean? It means your system is officially prepared. The foundation is solid, your data is all accounted for, and you can now move on to the next big step, the actual installation, with real confidence.
But here's a final question for you. Your data is validated. Your balances are documented. But what about your team? Is your team ready for what comes next? Because that's a whole other ballgame. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into next time on The Explainer. See you then.